My name is Leslie Williams, and I'm at the University of San Diego right now in San Diego, California. I'm a target of organized stalking, which is also known as gang stalking, electronic harassment, remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, and remote neural stimulating, and the computer-to-brain link, which is clearly described in the remote neural monitoring file. It is also known as the computer-to-brain feedback loop. I make these videos in order to be able to help people understand this expedition that is going on towards me and hundreds of thousands of Americans and millions worldwide, literally. And the reason why I make these videos is because human life is precious, okay? It has been discovered by me over time as a result of being a target of this openly for 10 full years now, every single day. I've discovered a lot in reference to who's responsible for these expeditions, who plays a role in it, who plays a role in covering it up and protecting it, and what their motivations and aspirations are, along with their assets and methods. One of the aspects of one of the things that I have discovered in reference to what I've already stated is who allows it and who protects it, and what it is. It's nothing but organized crime within the system and within the community that is connected to it. These individuals have done their homework. And what I mean by that? What I mean by that is that they have literally it's like a octopus in a way, where you got the head and then you got the 8 arms. Each of the arm is tentacled out within the community. In churches, charities, social services, social security, the police department, the fire department, and university campuses. Now, I'm going to take a break in my continuation of what I was just stating to give you a hint on how prevalent these expeditions are. Go to Google and type in organized stalking in universities. You'll get over 8 million responses. You're not getting 8 million responses for no reason. And since I got your attention concerning being able to Google specific terms, go to Google and type in gang stalking or organized stalking in libraries. And you'll come to understand the factual realities in reference to, look, if you can get organized stalking achieved and expedited on university campuses, and at public libraries, even using library employees, staff on campus, even including campus safety, then you have to anybody would be able to deduce that there's power positions in play here in order to be able to get these kind of people to engage in these activities. Because there ain't no organized street crime that's got the power to do this by themselves. Because it's got to be protected. Understand what I'm saying in reference to these types of expeditions, who's involved, what their aspirations and motives are, and how prevalent these types of expeditions are going on in each and every community in each state in the United States. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. They have me totally isolated in this campaign, and they will use anybody and everybody they can in the community to aid and abet them in boxing me in and entrapping me. To discredit me and possibly to even contain me to keep me from exposing this crime. We're talking about police officers, judges, prosecutors, DA's office. You would not believe what I know, and believe me, social services is also involved in these expeditions. My name is Leslie Williams, and I'm making this video today right here on USD campus. And this video is being made for informative purposes, educational purposes. What we have to do is understand how organized stalking is infested within each community. And a good way to understand that is by looking at these types of crimes go on in institutions like universities, okay? And, you know, they're connected to organized street crime as well, because it's a syndicate. It's flat out a nationwide syndicate. And the thing about it is that they're white and blue collar workers, and they got connections in all areas of employment in the white and blue collar employment sector. So as a result, whenever a target is picked and flagged for these types of expeditions, the members that are in the community that are part of the syndicate engage in the protocols and templates of behaviors towards a target whenever a target enters their environment or their area. And they also had the power positions in the community to get innocent people in the community to harass the target based on usually slander and falsified police reports and criminal investigation files, you name it. Now, a lot of that is achieved through community notifications, fake badges, and the prestige that's usually connected to a certain employment description, like a police officer or a firefighter or a judge or a lawyer, you know, a prosecutor. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when you have these criminal expeditions going on towards innocent human beings, in which every area of their life is totally destroyed. They stage vehicle accidents, we're harassed everywhere we go, and remote neural monitoring is being used towards us and on us. It's done to alter our brains in reference to our brain states. It's done to monitor our evoked potentials, for scrutinizing information so they can use it as an asset for them. And one of the ways that they use remote neural monitoring is, say if a target of these expeditions, who I believe, at least personally, 85% of targets are targets of remote neural monitoring.
Gang stalking is alive in this country, and the politicians are denying that it exists.
There are literally thousands of websites providing information about these crimes.
Sites that explain the truth about what's going on.
These are many sites that you should go and check out. Go to gangstalkingworld.com, go to stopcovertwar.com, go to YouTube and check out Organized Stalking Informers.
Wake up!
Are you being stalked, harassed, and your privacy violated? Has your work and personal life been sabotaged or ruined and you don't know why? Are you experiencing trouble with your phone, email, and internet services? Are you being denied help from governing and city officials? You are not alone.
As many as 1 person per 100 are being targeted in North America.
Same tactics get thrown on this list and
technological and community-based harassment. Gang stalking, or group stalking, groups of people stalking individuals.
street harassment.
This is exactly what is happening to me.
Gang stalking, I think there's a lot of propaganda going on about gang stalking, trying to justify that it's okay to gang stalk, and it's not okay. It's communism is what it is. There's a lot of places you can go online that will educate you on what gang stalking is. Just Google that word, gang stalking, and a lot will come up. You can go to YouTube and check out a lot of gang stalking videos there from a lot of people who are gang stalked and a lot of people who are trying to explain it. Gangstalkingworld.com will educate you on a lot of things as well. Best of all is Organized Stalking Informers. That's what I found was the best so far.
And so what does this technology do? It literally neurally monitors you from a remote distance. And as a result, they're able to scrutinize what's processed. So if a target thinks to himself, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to Walmart, they think that to themselves. The computer and the person who's monitoring the monitor ascertains the information, scrutinizes it, and then places the organized stalkers along that target's route to bring anywhere between just mild harassment to an incident, which is called a street theater in gang stalking circles, assaults, even rapes, theft, robbery. They even literally will run over a target with a car. My name is Leslie Williams. You know, I expose these crimes to help people understand the factual realities in reference to the nature of these expeditions, the tactics and methods used, so that American citizens can know what's really going on. I'm a good woman. I'm a Christian woman. I don't do anything illegal. I do not do drugs. I do not drink. I do not sleep around. I do not steal. You know, I don't hang around anybody at all because through the stalking, they like where I'm sitting at right now. If somebody was to walk by me and talk to me, and I decided to talk to them, then when that person would stop talking to me and eventually leave, what they would do through the stalking is they see, and through the remote neural monitoring, they literally see who I'm talking to. Then what they'll do is have that person walk by me the next day or later on the same day and have that person engage in gang stalking towards me. Yeah, because they want you to feel psychologically undermined, they want you to feel hopeless about your situation, and they want you to feel that no matter who you talk to or where you go, you're going to be harassed and that we're capable of infiltrating any circle. Okay? That's part of the reason why the monitoring is done. Okay, again, today's date is May 4th, 2012. I'm in San Diego, California, and I am gang stalked on this campus like you would not believe. Now, a lot of the students here are just people that are coming to school to get an education, mind their own business, and go about their lives as it should be. But the rest of them that are involved in these expeditions, some of them are lied to, and the other ones just do it because they believe that it's fun. And I try to keep in mind they're people that are, I'm twice their age, so I blow most of it off. you know, and a lot of them lie too. But here's the thing, though. There's no way that just your low-level street crime, whether it's organized or not, would have the power positions to get a library staff, reference staff, and circulation staff, and campus safety to also aid and abet in the gang stalking harassment. That shows you that power positions in the community are allowing it, protecting it, and they play a direct role in making sure that it does not get exposed. Because it's organized crime in the system, which means police officers, yes, firefighters, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying the connected ones. They use their employment descriptions to aid and abet in their criminal expeditions. The San Diego police are directly involved in this crime towards me. Physically, literally, and they're not only involved in it, but they allow it and protect it. They see that I'm uploading videos of people they're getting along my routes to harass me, including on the bus, on the trolley, and along my walking routes, including at businesses, and they don't like it because they're being exposed. The people they get to engage in organized stalking, I'm taking video pictures of. If any of them are recognized by the public, or if this gets out of hand and more undeniable, undisputable proof gets caught and uploaded to YouTube, then what's the San Diego police going to do? Keep denying this is happening towards me? They also had the audacity to say that gang stalking doesn't exist, and then they turned around and said it's not a crime in a second breath, in a separate part of the continued conversation. And all you got to do is go to YouTube and type in gang stalking bullying on steroids, and you'll see that it was covered by the Chula Vista Police just on March 11th, 2011. Chula Vista police officer, he said it's a felony, that gang stalking's been going on forever, and then it's even reached out into the cyber world. That was a Chula Vista police officer right on the news broadcast covering it, okay? And these guys are trying to tell me that it's not a crime. Bullshit. Understand this and be clear. They've been caught red-handed, flat out red-handed, undeniable, undisputable, physical, tangible proof that this crime is occurring, and they know they're involved in it, so the only thing they're doing is allowing it to happen, aiding and abetting in it happening, and then trying to use some crazy excuse that the target of the crime is mentally ill, because that's how they discredit the truth, by discrediting the truth teller. Understand this and be clear. I expose this crime so people can look up on the internet what it is. As an example, go to Google and type in organized stalking in universities. You will literally understand that Google generates to you 8 million responses. Those amount of Google generated responses are not for no reason. As a result, use the information that you scrutinize from the specific web pages that come up and scrutinize what it is and what happens to us fellow targets. They're into human trafficking, sexual servitude rings, trust fund liquidation, property co-opting, land co-opting, mortgage co-opting. They go after single mothers, single women, people on disability. Understand what's happening towards me and hundreds of thousands of other Americans right now in current time as a result of being a target of what is known as organized gang stalking. And remote neural monitoring to expose what's happening in our community. They're directly connected to sexual servitude rings, human trafficking rings, mortgage co-opting, land co-opting, property co-opting, trust fund liquidation. They're into all types of racketeering. And they're also into brain entrainment for behavior modification purposes, and that's where the prostitution and the human trafficking come in at. So they can then turn around and use remote neural monitoring to stimulate what's entrained. Mind control. It's mind, it's neural enslavement. And I expose these crimes to inform the community at large and to expose the perpetrators involved. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm learning disabled. I'm in San Diego, California. I am subjected to organized stalking, which is also called gang stalking, and remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, remote neural stimulating. You would not believe what I experience on a daily basis. Mental rape in reference to my own evoked potentials. I'm literally harassed in reference to my own evoked potentials. It flat out says it in the remote neural monitoring, the file that it's used for harassing. And since, what is remote neural monitoring? They monitor you neurally remotely. And then they harass you in reference to what they monitor, what the monitor scrutinizes. I believe the crimes that are happening towards me on a daily basis. I am subjected to what is called the computer-to-brain feedback loop, where the electronic harassment and the remote neural monitoring is hooked up in one computer run by artificial intelligence. Go to Google and YouTube and listen to the remote neural monitoring YouTube videos, and then Google extensively remote neural monitoring in order to be able to understand what it is, what it's capable of, and then thoroughly research it extensively, continue to research it. in order to be able, and that includes targets, blogs, in order to get an idea about how we're harassed, even about our own thought processes, how we're surveilled in reference to, like, if a target has a thought, I'm going to go to Walmart today, through the monitoring of remote neural monitoring, they know it. And that's where they take that information in order to put the organized stalkers along your path en route to Walmart and at Walmart. And this is done for harassment purposes. You're also harassed through the electronic harassment based on what the remote neural monitoring is reading in reference to your thoughts. They harass you about everything. Everything. Anything you're doing, literally. And it's all about to try and psychologically undermine you about your own thought processes, the theme and nature of your thought process. It's to literally harass you about anything that you might even be doing, because everything that I might be doing, I'm seeing that I'm doing. Like if I'm cleaning my teeth with a toothpick, they'll say, why is she doing that? Yeah, because everything that I see, my visual cortex sees. And as a result, they see it on the remote neural monitoring. The artificial intelligence picks the best conversations to transmit back to the target based on what the remote neural monitor reads, and then transmit electronic harassment back to the target based on what it's reading. So a target is literally harassed about anything. The remote neural monitor can also literally ascertain all your physiological responses. Like if I'm literally getting ready to burp, the remote neural monitor will pick through the artificial intelligence dialogue for the electronic harassment to spit back towards the target, even based on a burp. Literally does this. And that's just one section of what targets put up with on a non-stop basis. From the very second I wake up, I am literally subjected to non-stop electronic harassment based on anything that I'm doing, because I see what I'm doing, based on anything my audio cortex is processing, like my internal dialogue, because subvocal speech is heard by your audio cortex. This is literally what I put up with just in the electronic harassment aspect of it. Then they use also, again, like I have already mentioned, they use remote neural monitoring to monitor what your plans are for the day, so they can get the organized stalkers along your route to already be there at places you're going to, and your transportation routes getting there. Like, if I think to myself I'm going to go to Walmart, and they know my regular routines as far as what transportation routes and where I'm at as far as where I might be hiking at, they literally put people on the 928 bus. So when I get on the bus, I have to see them engage in gang stalking, organized stalking, physical gestures. It's called visual anchoring and audio anchoring. The audio anchoring is directly tied to the tactic of direct conversations, and the visual anchoring has to do with where they anchor specific physical gestures for a target to see on a non-stop basis every single day along all of the routes throughout the whole duration of where they might be at. Whether it's on a bus route, that's like if I got on a Greyhound for 7 hours, a target is subject to seeing repetitive behaviors non-stop. And why do they do that? They do that in order to be able to, whenever a target is first picked, they're usually traumatized, including rape. And what they'll do when they're traumatizing a target is they'll associate certain things that are said or certain physical gestures that are done while the traumatization is taking place. As a result, the target remembers the victimization and remembers the associated behaviors and statements that were made as they were being traumatized, while the body stores a physiological response in reference to not only the trauma, but everything that was witnessed as the trauma was occurring. So then what they'll do is associate certain statements, comments, and physical gestures when a trauma is occurring, and then have people get along a target's route and either have them re-mention things that were said during the trauma, or what they'll do is reenact specific things that were done as the trauma was occurring to get the body to get the mind to remember it, and then to have the body physiologically respond again to it, because the body and the mind stored the mental pictures of what they witnessed as they were being traumatized, and the body stored all the original physiological responses in reference to what it's seen and heard as it was being traumatized. That's like when a Vietnam vet comes back from the Vietnam War. Whenever he hears a helicopter, he's automatically brought back to that day, and a lot of massive shooting going on around him. He's thinking, I'm in the midst of really bad stuff here. I could get killed. And so the mind and body stores all that anticipation, anxiety, and everything, and that's what I mean. They're directly attached. They deliberately and intentionally with total malice aforethought create post-traumatic stress and do nothing but get along your route to make a target remember how they have traumatized you, to keep your mind and body constantly reacting to it. And this is nothing but called covert and overt psychological, mental, and emotional traumatization and re-traumatization. And this is what us targets put up with on a daily basis while we're homeless, because they get landlords on board to steal your rent, postal employees on board to steal your rent if you mailed it, like if you mailed it in the mail, certified mail return receipt. This is literally what us targets have to live with on a daily basis. They get the business community in on these harassment campaigns. Everywhere I go, I'm subjected to people doing this.
Another persistent technique they have used is to cough, spit, or bring their hand to their face in my presence in an effort to sensitize me to these behaviors and have me diagnosed as mentally ill. Stating to a mental health worker that people you don't know are making gestures to you is a diagnostic criterion for schizophrenia.
If you go to gangstalkingworld.com and other gang stalking sites, you'll find that these gang stalkers communicate with one another with hand signals, okay? They communicate with hand signals, and for an example, if one of them spots the targeted individual, they look in the direction of that person and they do a hand signal, whether it means just come up to their mouth like this. And with the other gang stalkers, the other cult members, okay, when they see their fellow freak do this, they look in the direction that that person is looking, okay? Oh, there's our target, okay? That's what he's saying. There's our target, and he's looking in the direction. Our target, right there, okay? Everyone else who sees that person go like this, they turn and go, oh. So, as myself with the camera, and you, the target individual, can set this up, that when you have a camera on these douchebags and you're talking to people through it, you know, it's really quite easy, right? Everyone's got their back to you except one guy, and one guy goes like this, and suddenly everyone turns and poof, all eyes are on you. What the is with that, people? It's called gang stalking.
They literally ride by me as I'm sitting here making this video, and as they ride by me, they'll do this or this. Okay, this is done for sexual inferences, you know, to make you know what that represents. And this is what they do, because the whole goal is to keep you disassociated, because every time you're reminded of a trauma, see, when you're traumatized, your mind becomes disassociated as the traumatization is occurring. So whenever it's reminded about the traumatization, the mind goes right back to that disassociated state. So it's all about keeping a target crowded out from their own thinking, their own clarity, mental clarity, to never let them have mental peace whatsoever, because it's a computer that transmits the electronic harassment. And then they just get people in the community to harass the target in these specific ways, like this and this, or patting the top of their head, or stroking their head back. And it's all done on a non-stop, repeated basis every single day throughout the whole routes, all of the routes of a target, throughout the whole duration of each route. Okay, so if I'm on a bus for a half hour, I got to experience it nonstop. If I'm on a trolley for a half hour, I got to experience it nonstop. I go to USD, I experience it nonstop. I go to SDSU, I experience it nonstop. Then I go into the bathroom. They have people come in the bathroom and do it. And this includes also direct conversation tactics. It's nonstop literal harassment between electronic harassment and the organized stalkers. And they get everybody and anybody on board to do this towards targets, because the intimidation and this kind of harassment is done through cost-effective means, because it's done by slander, by getting people in the community to do things for them practically for free in a cost-effective manner, because they got to make money off the target breaking down, the Medicare insurance and the eventual taking over the target's finances by claiming the target can't take care of themselves because they're homeless, even though they're the ones who created the homelessness. Yeah. So the whole goal is Medicare exploitation, to take over a target's Social Security checks through a syndicated probate attorney and a syndicated probate judge. Doctors are involved in these schemes, social services workers, Social Security workers, police officers, firefighters, you name it, the list goes on. All you got to do is Google everything I'm saying and cross-reference it to organized stalking and or gang stalking. My name is Leslie Williams, and this is what us targets experience on a non-stop basis every single day. Everywhere we go. This is Friars Mission Center here, right here, and in this plaza right here that I'm gang stalked on a feverish scale every time I come by here at CBS, Ralph's, and Burger King. And you can't see the Ralph's from here because it's actually that building that's way over there. This is just a tidbit file, let fellow Americans know and fellow San Diegoans to know This fantastic Sam over here, I caught a worker gaslighting me as she was sitting over there. It was a crafted harassment, overt harassment. And what they do is they basically gang stalk a target everywhere they go when they see that they're along their regular routes, because I come over here practically at least 3 to 4 times a week. And what they do is I'm entering from over at that location over there through Friars Mission Center. I'll come up on a hill and then come up in the parking lot and come over on here, walk through this way. And since they know my regular route, what they'll do is station these organized stalking idiots along these routes in order to engage in the physical gestures for me to see. This in turn makes the target feel stalked because they got to know where you're at in order to do it. It's called overt sensitization tactics, delivered through direct conversation tactics and physical gestures. And they also use the business community as well by putting out what is known as the community notification. And that's a law enforcement tool that's supposed to be used to notify the public about people that are just getting out of jail. That might be sexual predators, whatever. And it's to inform the community that these types of individuals are being released from jail. But they're using it for criminal expeditions because it's organized crime within the system. They're directly connected to human trafficking rings, sexual servitude rings, prostitution rings, and the San Diego police are directly involved in this expedition. Now, Rouse is right over in here, so every time I go in there, or CVS that's right down the road here, or in the Burger King that's right past Rouse, I experience the physical gestures by their employees, including management, and people coming in acting as customers. And they come in as a result of them knowing that I frequent these businesses when I come through here. And so my goal is to show you Friars Mission Center. And this is where targets, this is where I'm literally subjected to feverish, non-stop, organized gang stalking, sensitization tactics, physical gestures mostly, and also direct conversation tactics as well. I suggest you go to Google and type in organized gang stalking or gang stalking and sensitization tactics. Now, another thing for you to understand, if you went to Google and typed in organized stalking or gang stalking in Rouse, look at how many other targets are saying they've been gang stalked at Rouse.
I've been targeted with electromagnetic energy on at least 2 occasions where it could be definitively identified. Once in front of a Ralph's grocery store.
Just thoroughly scrutinize everything I'm saying to you in reference to the description of what I'm saying. Cross-reference it all to everything I've described, like remote neural monitoring, electronic harassment. Go to www.surveillanceissues.com and thoroughly scrutinize everything. Thoroughly scrutinize electronic harassment, the computer-to-brain feedback loop, remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, remote neural stimulating, and organized stalking, which is also called gang stalking, and you'll clearly be able to scrutinize and understand. You would not believe what they're doing to just normal, everyday citizens who do nothing wrong because they are totally 100% involved in organized crime that is within the system, that is hosting this, protecting it, allowing it, and making money off of it. I'm in San Diego, California right now. I'm learning disabled, and this is what I put up with on a daily basis. And you know what they do to targets who whistleblow? They call them crazy by using mental health. They stage a street theater out in the community to provoke a target or assault a target, and then they stage the witnesses, blame it on the target, and then send them to county mental health to have them discredited by one of their syndicated corrupt mental health officials. Yeah. Google organized stalking and or gang stalking to corrupt mental health, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. My name is Leslie Kieran Williams. I'm a target of gang stalking. Also, remote neural monitoring what's going on towards me in San Diego, California is a result of being a target of gang stalking. Anywhere I go along my routes, and this additionally includes the transportation routes, walking, public transportation, or bicycle that I use to get there. Gang stalking. If you're a gang stalking target, you can be picked for multiple reasons and multiple aspirations behind the reason why you were targeted. A person can be picked for gang stalking just because they're a whistleblower, they witnessed something at the wrong time, and as a result of being gang stalked, they can then be used for multiple aspirations because it's protected by the government, literally. It's sick and it's sad and it's pathetic. It took me a long time to believe this because I had to exhaust the avenues that I ran to for help, and as a result of not getting help and then later seeing how they were used, I started believing what was already online concerning it. Now I'm talking about newspapers, even some TV crews can be attached to gang stalking, and yeah, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying sometimes you will that can be the case. David Lawson talked about that. He wrote a book about gang stalking. Okay, so what's happening towards me? Well, they pick a person can be actually picked for human experimentation when they're a kid, and then they can be let go of, but they'll still be tracked. Since this is governmentally involved, because research is also, human experimentation is a big aspect of this. So the point I'm trying to make to you here is that a target may be picked as a child for one reason, and then just thrown to the wolves later on in life. But they're still kept track of. Organized crime that has this technology is directly attached to military personnel and directly attached to the federal government, who then trickles that technology also down to local crime groups, wealthy corporations. The wealthy can get a hold of it. Once you start researching gang stalking, find out what you need in reference to how they operate, which is described online. That's what I did. Now, it says it all over the internet that these people go after people on disability. They go after single women, single mothers. They go after minorities. They go after the elderly, and they can go after specific individuals who got power positions in the community. And that means in the power positions to intimidate property owners that might own an apartment building. They're capable of a lot of nasty stuff. Even blacklist targets. They are openly harassed and gang stalked along all their routes. The business community is notified. And this is a book right here called Closing the Gap. Okay, and it literally says it right on there. Gang stalking and community notifications. That proves literally right there, and plus it's all over the internet, like on the front of www.gangstalkingworld.com. What these individuals do, and they also have syndicated members within the business community, and what they do is they basically do nothing but harass the target everywhere they go to try and break them down mentally and psychologically. They also employ electronic harassment towards them on a daily basis, and they also use other technology, which is called remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, and remote neural stimulating, as well as other extreme technology that has extreme capabilities like you would not believe. Remote neural monitoring, they can literally piggyback on the frequency of any device, tape recorder, cell phone, this digital camera, and go in and edit or alter or delete anything that is stored in these devices so that the data cannot be scrutinized by the public, literally. And it literally states it, literally, in the remote neural monitoring file. And gang stalking expeditions do not like public exposure because of who's involved in it. The police, the fire department, members of the district attorney's office that went down to the San Diego district attorney's office and told them I was a human trafficking target as a result of being a gang stalking target, and that there was an extreme likelihood that the San Diego police were involved with it. And 1.5 days later, not even 36 hours later, I was brutally assaulted on an MTS bus. And then they sent me a video that was totally 100% altered. That's already online as far as me taking a video of sections of the video that they sent me. So I took the CD-ROM out of the computer because they had literally sabotaged. While I was working on things over at the University of San Diego, I'd be like writing a post, and I'd have 10,000 words written, and they'd go in and totally shut down the whole page. And I go to bring it back up, and all the work's gone. That's why at times I have had to copy and paste my work while I'm in the middle of it to a Gmail account, and then go back and attempt to finish it because they were constantly shutting down my web pages while I'm in the middle of work. So what I'm trying to point, and a bunch of other stuff that they do over at the University of San Diego in reference to what I'm doing online. So when they seen that, I noticed that it was altered because I was putting the mouse cursor over the places that I were visually recognizing in the video as far as it being altered. They seen me moving the mouse around. I also had gang stalkers walking by my vicinity at the University of San Diego and acting like, damn, we got a problem now. You got to understand what I'm talking about here. I deal with these people every single day, okay? And their goal is to purposely get around me to make me notice their harassment. So when they feel threatened about anything, they have because a lot of them they use are young kids who don't know how to not show their emotions. Literally, basically look up and basically see what their attitude is like for the day. And this is no lie. This is what gang stalkers do. They literally sit around you to observe what you're doing online, and also they're communicating with the host and director
who is using the remote neural monitoring on me, literally. What they do with remote neural monitoring is they literally harass you concerning your evoked potentials. And if you don't believe me, type in remote neural monitoring at YouTube and listen, especially listen to the NYC Chronicle videos. He doesn't have the technical education in order to be able to thoroughly describe exactly what's being utilized towards her, but understand this and be clear, she does very well in describing what they're doing. She doesn't have the technical expertise to describe exactly how they're doing it, though. I do, because I took electronics in school, and I also studied the brain for over 4.5 years because of my learning disabilities. So when you look at the bioelectric aspects of the brain and how that is directly incorporated within the technology of remote neural monitoring, then you can understand that evoked potentials can be read in real time. And then the individuals who hold the remote neural monitor basically communicate with the gang stalkers on campus about when to do a certain thing to make me feel like I'm being harassed in reference to the evoked potentials that are being processed. And if you don't believe me, type in gang stalking and Gloria Naylor. She's a very good, I think there's a White-Eyed Cinema in reference to, she called up on some talk show interview, and she talked about how she was literally in her face harassed concerning something that she processed, which are thoughts, evoked potentials, and they literally harassed her within like a 2-hour period concerning what her evoked potentials were. Remote neural monitoring, you just have to look at it this way. Remote neural monitoring is not online for no reason. It's not technology that is there. It's literally there online for you to read for no reason. This technology exists, and the fact that the patents and everything, the patents of it, are not online for no reason. This is technology that literally exists. So this is what they do. They literally will harass a target based on anything a target does physically and their evoked potentials, because the whole goal is to make a target feel victimized and re-traumatized. And why do they do that? Because they want to break a target down so they can get custody of a target to take everything a target's got, and to brain and train them for prostitution. This is how they're into human trafficking. They get a hold of women and people on disability, and they try to entrain them for prostitution. And that's all done once they get them in isolated environments that they control through gang stalking and the syndicated individuals within the system. And that's all done by them getting power of attorney of the target once the target breaks down as a result of them being destitute, which is all created by them covertly, by them stealing the rent of a target, making them homeless, wrecking the target's vehicle by deliberately causing a vehicle accident. They did that to 2 of my cars. And this is all done to continue to break down a target because they make money off the effects of a target being broken down as a result of them being tortured. This is the true, literal, heinous nature of this crime. How do they make money? When a target breaks down that's on Social Security, what they do is they see they're breaking down because they're monitored constantly. Whether they're in a home, whether they're in a motel room, campsite, RV, car, anywhere, they're monitored. And as a result of the monitoring, what they're able to do in the stalking, they're able to literally ascertain if a target's breaking down, calling 911. And as a result, they're shipped off to a hospital because they're literally deliberately pipelined to a syndicated doctor, who then works hand in hand with syndicated hospital administrative staff to bilk Medicare out of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars each and every time that a target breaks down. Now, the people that they're connected to have literally set up billing corporations. What they are is they're really nothing but fly-by-night places that are called billing services. And what they do is they are the controllers of their billing literally work hand in hand in the bilking of the Medicare. And all these thousands of dollars that are generated off a 7 to 10 to 21 hospital day stay, even more, funnel that money they end up getting from Medicare back into the hands of the people that participated in it, gang stalking insurance fraud. This is one of the avenues they make money off of a target. The other avenue is to eventually contain the target by saying the target cannot take care of themselves as a result of the destitution they're in that they covertly create by stealing their rent check, intimidating landlords, bribing landlords to create the homelessness. Then they exploit the fact that the target's homeless by stating that the target cannot take care of themselves, because how I mentioned to you that they're shipped, when they break down, they're shipped to the hospital. That doctor will falsely diagnose them with a disorder. And that's done for 2 reasons: to make it look like the billing was done legally in reference to a diagnosis, and to discredit the target, because once those accumulated diagnoses are documented, They'll combine them, stage a big incident, and bring the target before a syndicated judge, and he'll sign over power of attorney to make the target a legal ward of the state. And then a syndicated individual, then once they get a hold of a target, with the syndicated power of attorney, they place them in a home where they're sexually abused and sexually entrained. And whatever is entrained in reference to, they use violence to tell a target that we're going to keep doing this to you until you give up sex. So then the target starts to think to themselves, okay, I got to cooperate, I'm going to get beat up, whatever. As a result of them thinking this and then cooperating, what is entrained neurally is identified and marked through remote neural monitoring and then stimulated on any date for any man they bring along that target's path in the home or in a place where they have activities that are mandatory that a target has to attend as a result of being in the home. And they stimulate that neural network that was entrained back in current time, and therefore that thinking is brought back in current time and acted out again. And here you have it, a literal sexual slave, and that's a result of the remote neural monitoring. The whole goal, literally, is to create nothing but a sexual slave, okay, to make money off that angle, to bilk the Medicare because they're constantly being put back in the hospital every 30 to 40 days through staged incidences that happen in the house, and then targets blamed on them. They are then told they have to go to the hospital to get on medication because they're out of control. And then that's all staged. Those incidences are scheduled on days to where the syndicated doctors are working, so they can then turn around and do the same thing again to the target, bilk Medicare out of thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's all kicked back to every single person that played a role in it. Ones that own the syndicated homes, the fire department EMS personnel that are syndicated in it, the cops that are syndicated on their chain, that will protect the syndicated home in case the target ever breaks away and calls 911, like runs to a neighbor or whatever. Through them seeing the target is literally leaving, they literally get on their phone and they'll call the syndicated police officer that are on duty that day, and literally prevent a target from ever escaping. And this is what's done. Torture for money. I'm learning disabled, and this is what's happening to me. I have to live this way every single day of my life because of this is going on towards me in San Diego. It's a nationwide syndicate. It's happening in literally every state. It's nothing but organized crime that is infested in the system and allowed by the system because of the organized crime that is literally infested within the system. They did the same thing to Connie Marshall. They took her grandchildren because they got taken from her, placed in a syndicated home, and each child that got taken from her, that syndicated home applied for federal funding per child. It's nothing but money and torture and illegal kidnapping for profit. So all you have to do is thoroughly research gang stalking.
My name is Leslie Williams. I'm learning disabled. I'm in San Diego, California. I experience this on a daily basis, and I expose this to help people understand what's happening to me, my fellow targets, and to help current targets who might not understand yet what's happening towards them.
Understand this and be clear. Anybody that engages in organized gang stalking expeditions towards me, I will expose you one day. I don't care who you are or who you think you are or who you're connected to. I will expose you. And I don't care if it makes me appear crazy or not. I will expose you.